Hi guys, Kaiser here. Welcome back to Age of Empires 3. We have the AoE3 Noob Cup 2 signups wrapping up in 1 week. So, of course, if you're interested in joining us, you can find our Discord channel in the description below. Check it out, you can find all the details there, and if you qualify, you can join into the tournament. We'd love to have you. But what that means for the channel, as we're nearing the start of the actual tournament, is I'm trying to find different tips and tricks and advice to share with our competitors to make sure that they bring their A game into the tournament. And one of the tips that I have to share with each and every one of you is to be wary of early game pressure. Age of Empires 3 is not Age of Empires 2. It's very easy to mass up an army and win the game quickly. And I have found one of the strongest, fastest, and fairly easy to pull off rushes available in AoE3, and it's with the Haudenosaunee. So let's go ahead and dive right in, and I'll show off the moves on how to pull off this rush. Now the reason why the Haudenosaunee are particularly good at this is they start the game with the Travois. So with this Discovery Age Travois, you're able to do a little bit of exploring. I use the Travois just to move around a little bit, but the main thing is you can throw down a house for free with the Travois. So you start the game with a 10 pop limit, of course, but functionally, once you get that house down, you've got 25 population space available. That frees up your Haudenosaunee villagers to actually move onto wood very quickly, and our goal is to get up to 200 wood. Now, fortunately, I found a wood treasure there that helped me gather 200 wood even faster. There we are. The long house, which is the Haudenosaunee version of the house, going down right away, so we've got 25 pop space. And I'm a little bit slow here. I've got the 200 wood. I'm a little slow on the draw. Got the trading post going down with the explorer. Now I'm moving all of my villagers over to food. And that's all I'm doing. We get up 1 trade post, and now we're just on food. And we're trying to get up to 15 villagers on food, and then we'll tech up. This is a very, very strong build. Everybody's on food. My opponent, Feanor Raziel, he's playing as the Russians. I believe that I have, in fact, I know I have faced Feanor before, or Raziel. I'll say Raziel, because I'm not sure if it's Feanor, or something else. I know I'm going to mispronounce it somehow. Raziel, in the blue is the Russians. I have faced Raziel and his Russia before, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm pretty sure he beat me. He's a strong opponent. But this time, I have a very strong build order that I'm bringing to the table with the Haudenosaunee. So I am bringing, I've called it the Haud deck. In Age 1, you're only going to send 1 card. It's the 3 villager card, and that'll help you get up to 15 villagers faster. Alligator down, that helps me pick up a little bit of extra food. One of the things that you do want to be aware of, this is a very easy mistake to make, and I think I actually do make this mistake a little bit myself, is as you're keeping the eco going, and this part of the eco is a little bit easy. You're just sending more villagers to the deer, right? Make sure you keep your explorer moving and collecting more treasures, specifically, I dare say almost exclusively, food and wood. Get food, get wood, because here, I'm kind of a little slow on my eco, and I decided to pick up a 16th villager. Now, you should be able to pull off this strategy with 15 vills. 15 vill into tech up. But I just decided I was slow enough, I might as well try to get out 1 more villager. So, I'm a little bit off build already, but that's okay. Now, my opponent, Raziel, one of the things that is really going to work in my favor is he's going for a strong eco strategy. So you see he's actually already sent the Schooners card, which allows fishing boats to be cheaper, so he can get out that ocean eco even faster, which is great if I leave him alone and let him build that. But this is a Haudenosaunee rush video, so that's not going to happen. You'll notice I have a shipment available. I could send the exotic hardwoods, but that is not what I want. No. We just teched up, and we teched up using the politician that researches the next age very quickly. Speed is important. So that gives you a travois. You send the travois into the middle of the field, and you ship the Kanya Horseman card. 4 Kanya Horsemen. That is the Haudenosaunee version of the Hussar. And meanwhile, back on your town center, as soon as you can, ship the Haudenosaunee Scouting Party card. Now you will notice that I'm pop locked. I'm actually at 30 pops, so you need to make sure that you get some villagers on wood to get up another house at this point so that you can continue to produce eco and an army behind this. But what you wanted to do too, you get the war hut down, and then you set the war hut as the military shipment drop point. And that way everything that you ship will go to the war hut. So now we can start putting the pressure on. My opponent has nothing on the field to stop this. He is, you know, kind of playing a relaxing game, an eco-focused game. If you look at what does he have, I mean, he's not even in the second age yet. So all I'm doing here with the Kanya Horseman is just trying to shut down his eco as much as possible. If he's not collecting resources, that's a win for me. So right away, I've got horsemen, I've got tomahawks, and he sends the military wagon. If I let this go up, the blockhouse will help defend his base. It will train units. But fortunately, I've already got military on the field. So they just walk right up and burn that down before it can ever go up. And here we go. Everybody moves in. Blockhouse down. And at this point, it is tough sailing for the Russians. While this is going on, I'm putting the pressure on. In the background, I'm getting more villagers onto food and wood. That's your priority, because the Haudenosaunee version of the Musketeer, which is the Tomahawk, only costs food and wood. So until you want to get up into the third age, you don't really need to worry about gold. You just start massing out more and more Tomahawks from your war hut. If you see that they are producing infantry, you can switch to the Anna archers instead, which only cost food. So that's going to be your primary resource. And here we go. The TC is going down. This is less than 7 minutes into the game, and it's practically GG already. I'm going to watch here as the TC falls down. So once this TC goes down, he is no longer able to ship. He's not able to send any more shipments. His eco's falling apart here. I've got 19 bills to his, well, it was 15. Now it's down to 11. And yeah, this is pretty much over. I'll go ahead and tell you, he extends the game for a little while because he does have the fishing eco. And so this goes on longer than you might expect, but it's over. He's not able to make a comeback. You're able to just mass up your economy behind this, get out more army, and eventually you just overwhelm your opponent with this kind of advantage. Just don't forget your eco as the rush goes on. Now here you're saying, Kaiser, that was a really quick video. It's only 8 minutes into the match. It's already over. Well, I'm going to go ahead and spoil you with a second Haudenosaunee match just to see what happens when you're up against an opponent who maybe is a little bit more prepared for the rush. All right, here we are, game 2, showing off the Haudenosaunee rush strategy. And we're starting off with the same kind of game plan. You get your explorer to collect resources. In this case, I picked up 30 wood, which is great, because that means I need to leave my villagers on wood for a shorter amount of time before I collect that 200 wood and get straight up to all in on food, right? So that's faster food production for me, which is great. My opponent is Scalier, ZL Scalier LZ. I'm going to call him Scar. I don't know what Scalier means, but we're going to call him Scar. Scar in the red here, playing as the Spanish. A very interesting matchup. Let me see. He has not yet selected a deck. But when he does select the deck, what you're going to find is he is a little bit more flexible than Raziel was. Okay. So this time, I still had the last game in my mind when I was playing this game, and I remembered, I left them on trees too long. They collected more wood than they were supposed to, so here I've pulled them off right at the right time. There's only one wood left. Got up that trading post right away. It's important, don't forget too, to send your explorer to the trade post before you collect the wood. So that way he's ready to put down that trade post as soon as possible. You want all the XP you can get. Alright, 3 villagers on the way. 2 more queued up in the town center. Yeah, I found this XP treasure. I really wish this was food or wood. That would have helped a lot. But XP is not bad. Of course, it helps you get out shipments faster. And with this deck, you do have quite a few military cards that you can send. So it will help in the push. All right, here we go. We got our 14th Ville. We need to queue up one more. We got to get up to 15 Villes. My opponent doing something similar, going to the other trade post, wanting to get that up pretty quickly. I'm using my explorer to scout where my opponent is, where his villagers are located, trying to find weaknesses, where to hit. Here we go. Here comes the 15th Ville. And this time, because I've been a little bit tighter with my economy, we are much closer to the 800 food necessary to tech up as soon as the 15th Ville comes out. I decide, and I could do even better. This is by no means a perfect build. So I decided to hold off for a second, though. Boom. Got the 1800 food. Just go up to the next stage right away. I'd rather do that than spend the time producing another villager. And, you know, it does mean I have some idle TC time, but I think that's worth it to get to the next age faster. One of the coolest things about the Native American civs is the explorer can recruit human treasure guardians. So here I've picked up a colonial gunslinger for my army, which is nice. All right, here we go. The Travois is out, so that's essentially free barracks. We're going to move the Travois to the middle of the map. Throw it down. I've already got the Kanya horsemen on the way. I also did a better job of getting villagers onto wood early to get that next longhouse down faster, so I won't be housing myself in the same way that I did last time. Now, one mistake I do make here, you want to try to get the barracks up before the horsemen arrive, and so that way you can set the barracks as the drop-off point for your military shipments. That didn't happen here. I was a little too aggressive, took too long to get there, so the horsemen show up here, and that just means it's not a big deal, but it means it's going to take a little bit longer for them to arrive to the next stage. Here's my opponent, Scar, on 16 Villes, and getting to the next stage. What I do have, now I should have the, I think the big button card. Is that already on its way? Let me see. I've got the Tomahawk shipment coming. Because I got that extra XP from the explorers, right? All right, here we go. Horsemen are already arriving, and they're just disrupting the eco. He's pulling everything back. Even if I don't get a single kill here, that's his whole eco not working. Alright, so that's worth it. Alright, got Tomahawks on their way. If I'm not mistaken, I have called at this point the big button. Yeah, here we go. More Tomahawks moving up. And my goal is once again, with the 11 tomahawks, knock him down. This is beautiful. He ships an outpost wagon, which I think is his age up bonus. And the wagon comes right out. The horsemen take care of it before it could do anything. You've got to love that. Try to keep your explorer with your Haudenosaunee army because you do get additional HP when they are near the explorer. He is, I think, my favorite Native American explorer for this reason. I love having the extra resiliency on the units. Now, let's look at Scar's point of view. He is shipping the Haudenosaunee card as well as getting militiamen out onto the field. That's a great one to punch. The militiamen will do some damage. And then the Haudenosaunee will absolutely destroy the Kanya horsemen. And in this case, fighting under the town center, they should put in good work against the Tomahawks as well. So the Haudenosaunee are a really good choice here. He also takes out my Explorer, which means my units no longer have the HP bonus. We do see here, a couple of militia, a couple of Haudenosaunee. It means even though I you know, in a one-on-one fight I could win this battle, these army units will go down. But I don't think I have what it takes to continue the siege. Especially here. I might be able to press on like this. This might work, but he spent the 100 gold to ransom his explorer back to life, and then using the Spanish ability to recruit war dogs. Like I mentioned in my previous video, the Spanish have a resiliency thanks to this war dog training option that other civs don't get. So my early push has fallen apart. Now, I say it's fallen apart. It was still worth it. We shut down his eco for a long time. And he actually is up a Vil on me, but that's simply because I let my TC go idle. I was kind of pushing in on military and just focused in on the battle rather than keeping my eco going. So that's a mistake on my part. Here we go. He's shipping 4 settlers. I'm shipping 5 settlers. And training up more Vils as well.
On the Hauden.
See?
Now the thing that's really nice about this, he's getting an outpost up. And so, you know, with the eco that he does have, Scar is trying to focus in on the defense. And I think that's the right move. You know, you need to have some resiliency to withstand a push. But also, of course, if you're on the back foot, if you're playing defense, then that's giving your opponent flexibility, right? And I think that's sort of what has happened here. Now, what I did, let me go back to my own deck. I shipped the Town Destroyer card, which makes your War Chief, your Explorer, more destructive against buildings, 1,400% more damage. So that's a great moment here where right now I've only got a couple of Tomahawks and my War Chief. I'm going to use that to absolutely obliterate the Spanish trading post. He doesn't need that. He does not need to keep that. And meanwhile, I've got a bunch of wood. I'll go ahead and claim it for myself as soon as this thing goes down. Picking up some of the Iena bowmen, which again, or if this were Latin pronunciation, be Aina. But the bowmen are anti-infantry units, especially anti-heavy infantry, I should say. Notice how they do double damage against heavy infantry. So they're good units. They're kind of the Haudenosaunee version of the skirmisher. And if you have an opponent going all in on infantry, they're a great choice. They only cost food. So you're not spending any wood, you're not spending any gold. There's really no such thing as a trash unit in AoE3. We talk in the Age of Empires 2 world, we talk about trash units a lot. They're units that don't cost gold because gold is very valuable. In AoE3, all the resources are valuable in different ways, so I don't know that it makes sense to talk about there being a trash unit, but if there was such a thing, the Einabomen would be pretty close to an effective trash unit. I really like the Tomahawks, and I default to the Tomahawks because they are a good all-around unit that you do damage. Yeah, you are vulnerable to skirmishers or crossbowmen, but they do solid damage all around. They are especially effective if your opponent tries to go into cavalry, and I just like the flexibility they provide. And you can use them as sort of a meat shield for any skirmishers that you may have. Now my opponent has just collected the resources necessary to tech up, and he is on his way to the third age, sending the bishop, which, if I am not mistaken, sends him a second town center. I have purposely decided not to age up, but instead to focus on the army and to get up another wave of army units. And I think this demonstrates again the principle that I started this video with, which is be very aware of the power of the second age. Be aware of how strong it can be to just mass up army and fight in age 2. You are stronger in age 3. You will unlock units you don't have access to in the third age. You will unlock techs. It's great to be in the third age, but if you sacrifice tempo, if you sacrifice an army for aging up, you put yourself in a vulnerable position. And so here we go. At this point, I have 13 Tomahawks, 14 Bowmen. So that's a total of, plus my Explorer, 28 units. Going in against the 4 Rodolero. He does have a barracks up. He's got his Explorer up. And he has an outpost and the town center. Game on. At this point, I have 37 Vils to his 25. And a big part of that is him putting the food into the town center for the next age up. Here we go. Third age out. The covered wagon is out. He tries to get that up right away. But guess what? I have my siege weapon war chief immediately knocks that down. The army putting in work to destroy this outpost. Actually, take out the Explorer first, then destroy the outpost. So, we're in a good spot. Now, Scar, to his credit, he has unlocked the Skirmisher, showing off the strengths of the third age. The Skirmisher is an excellent anti-infantry unit. Skirms out. And I'm busy on other things. I don't think I noticed this right away. Yeah, I think this is a little bit of a misplay, because I could have taken my... I think my units here... I've got 10 units now that I'm reacting to his... What is this, like 4 skirmishers? 5, it was 5. So it goes down to 4 skirmishers, but then here come more. And now it's 8 versus my... Now it's like 6 units. I've got to pull back. Yeah, so this goes down. He ships a really cool card, a great defensive card. The Advanced Frontier Defenses, upgrading his outposts to Frontier Outposts, and sending 3 of them. Really nice card. Great defensive option. But he has had to place them very defensively. I mean, this is behind his TC. He's spending resources to repair his town center. He's having a very hard time. I mean, he's basically stuck. He can't control any of the map. If you were to look at the minimap right now, basically the whole left-hand side, the Haudenosaunee have control of, you know, both sides of the trade route. I have, he has 30 Vils to my 42, so eco-wise, I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, I go in with more units, but I don't know what exactly I'm trying to accomplish there. I think I'm just trying to get some Vil picks and just remind him that I'm there, get some intel. My opponent getting out the Hacienda wagons, which are a very cool option that have been added to the Spanish recently. The Haciendas are super farms. You can use them to gather food, gather wood, if I'm not mistaken. You can use them to train units. They're pretty cool. All right, here we go. I'm now moving in on the offense. I sent Kanya horsemen, so my idea was use the horsemen to get into the skirmishers. Skirmishers are weak to, hussar-like units. And that's true, but I don't think I massed up enough, especially with the frontier outposts doing work. Outposts are much stronger when they're frontier level. So I can't really keep this push going. What I should have done is set up the bowman right here and just whittle away these units. But look at the score. I picked up a pretty big score lead here, 3,000 more points, and I think that's because of the eco. I have 42 to his 31. On my end, with the deck that I have right here, which, by the way, I want a hat tip, and I should have said this at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to put this in the description below, but I want to give a hat tip to the ESOC. I think they call it ESOC. ESOC community. They are one of the big Age of Empires 3 communities out there. And I actually was using one of their guides. I kind of tweaked it a little bit for my own preference, but I learned the build by checking out their website, and they've been really great. They've been around for a long time. They're still great. They're actually helping to spotlight the Noob Cup, so I really wanted to give a shout out to them generally, and in particular, of course, with this build. I'm forgetting the name of the author who put this game plan together, but it's coming from the community. So I will have a link to the guide below in the description. Check that out. Yeah, here we go. The push is going on. Now this time I've got 15 tomahawks, 15 bowmen. Tomahawks, like musketeers, they're not bad. They are getting countered by the skirmishers, though. We really want the bowmen to be putting in the work against the skirmisher. I'd say the tomahawk, they're more, again, kind of an all-around choice. Going to use them to destroy buildings. 22 siege versus the 13 siege of Vienna. These are fights that I think, in a vacuum, Scar is winning. I think I'm sacrificing a lot more than he is for every fight. But I'm doing this on purpose in order to... And notice, by the way, I've got a couple of mantlets. I think I've... The card that I sent? No, it was the politician. The politician sent a few mantlets. Decent siege options, helping to keep the push going. I'm purposefully taking these fights that maybe are, in a certain sense, are fights that he's winning. But for him, every loss is devastating. I'm trying to keep him from ever getting a massive units up. I don't ever want him to have an army larger than 10, right? And so I'm willing to throw my superior economy into making that happen. Got the elite rams up, and he's distracted by the rams, trying to shoot them down with skirmishers. That will let my bowmen put in work. Just whittle these numbers down. I've got up, with the age up, I had a travois, so I threw it on a second war hut. And I've also built the corral. That's where you saw the Kanya horsemen from earlier. This is where the action is. He's doing a decent job staying alive, but you see this 28 Vil count? He's pretty much stuck here. Here come the elite rams to finish the job. Alright, he knocked out my army. Oh no. Here are the battle rams. And I wish I had preserved these guys. They go down. I think this is a waste, but the silver lining is I see that he has shipped one of the most powerful cards the Europeans get, the 2 Falconets card. I think he might have even been wise to ship that earlier. But he's got the Falconets card out now. I am aware that the cannons are there. And here I've got another 15 tomahawks. I am not going to send them forward to die to cannon fire. We'll pull back. We'll be patient. And instead, we will get up some cavalry. Getting up some elite musket riders. Now, I decided to pick musket riders. They're the Hussar. I'm sorry, not the Hussar, but the Dragoon option for the Haudenosaunee. And I think this is actually a little bit of a mistake because either cavalry option would be great against the artillery. But I gotta remember, he's been going into skirmishers, and skirmishers do bonus damage against Dragoon units, including the musket rider. So I should have gone with the Kanya horsemen instead. They would have done a good job knocking out the falconets and the skirmishers as well. Now, what I'm not aware of, as the battle continues, and you do see that I've taken advantage of the opportunity to build a second town center, so I'm really trying to keep the eco going and control the map. That part's great. I've also got a siege workshop up, which is where my battering rams came from. But what I do not see is that Scar here is using his haciendas to produce soldados, which is a new unit for the game, fairly new, and is a strong unit. How strong? Well, take a look. We've got the skirmishers with 18 range damage. This is double damage against heavy cav, so, double damage against heavy infantry. So that's 36 points of damage from the skirmisher. The soldados just have a base 46 damage. And then their hand attack. They do 32 damage with melee, times 3 against cav. So they're just going to wreck cavalry, and soldados are going to be very effective against most units. They're just strong. They're an all-around strong option. Way better than my elite tomahawks, which have 25 range damage. 25 versus 46. That's a pretty big difference. Now, again, one more time. This is a battle that I think technically he wins, right? Especially considering the soldados are kind of free. He's not technically paying any resources, but what he is paying for is, one, he lost his cannons, his artillery. So he doesn't have an artillery range up. That's done. He's not getting those back. The other thing, notice by the way, I was using his outpost to continue sending shipments. That's very, very critical. If I knock that outpost down, I don't know that he can do that to the barracks. I think the barracks can only send military units. So anyway, but the other thing is, as great as it is that he's, getting these soldados quote-unquote for free, he is using the haciendas to produce them.
Hola.
All of the work that the villagers are doing here is going into training soldados. So that means that he's not collecting food. He's not collecting wood or gold. He's doing nothing but building up his army, and he's got no eco really behind this. Of the 28 vills, the vast majority of them are just working on soldados. That's it. So he's in some danger. He's got to build his eco back, or push out with an army and somehow change the stakes. Because right now it's 28 vills to my 60. And I've got a lot. One of the things I like about Haudenosaunee, they have a lot of really solid cards to keep the momentum going. Good eco options with my crates here. Good units. I'm prioritizing the church here because remember that your churches and your mosques and the like, they produce experience points that I believe are better than a trading post. I may be mistaken about that, but they produce XP for your civilization. And the Spanish in particular thrive on shipments. So knocking out that source of experience is really great. Alright, I got some forest prowlers up, which are basically like skirmishers, right? Yeah, I mean, I kill some of the units, but the soldados, man, they're strong. They are very, very strong.
Okay.
What I said to do, if I move in with the musket riders, they're dead. I know that. I mean, they're going to be weak against either infantry here, let alone both of them. So Instead, what I have done, let me see if I've already done this. What I'm going to do with them, while I'm waiting to kind of react, is just scout the map. Make sure that he's not building an eco elsewhere, because I know that he's here. Notice, by the way, he starts to move out, and then he sees the town center. He sees that I am, I have control of this isthmus here, right? So this center location, this is deep water. You can't move in through here. So he's kind of blocked in. I'm producing tomahawks. This is kind of an all-around option, but knowing that he's just got soldados and skirms, I really should be going either Forest Prowler or Bowman. Just go one or the other. I think this is a mistake. Again, what I'm doing is I'm fearful of him being able to pull some surprise cavalry choice out of nowhere and blow up my army of skirmishers. I've had that happen to me one too many times, so I really like having the musketeers on the field. Even if, in a situation like this, it's just the wrong choice. You know, against this army, go light infantry. Now, I will say, okay, let me give myself some credit. One of the reasons I'm doing that is I do have a very particular plan for the infantry. That plan are Haudenosaunee light cannons. I'm immediately shipping 4 cannons, building 2 more. And the goal is to use the cannons as the anti-infantry option. And then the musketeers are going to cover for any weaknesses that cannons have if he decides to go, cavalry of his own or culverin or something. I have the musketeer and the musket riders to handle those options. Let's say 4th age unit going up against age 3 units. Meanwhile, back at home, got farms up. I used a travois to throw an estate down.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing about these light cannons, they're anti-infantry, they are well, like it says, good against infantry and artillery. They're not half bad against buildings either. So you can make a really solid push here with these 9 light cannons. And here we go. This whole time, he's still on 28 vills. Why? Because he's put everything into these haciendas to produce more soldados. They are falling apart now. Yeah, and here we go. Now he's down to 10. He was at 28, I want to say. Here we go. He's producing a culverin now, the anti-artillery option. I really like culverins. They're good units too. They're easy to overlook, I think, but they're really good options when you have an opponent who is relying on falconets. An early falconet push that just gets shut down. Yeah, here we go. Look at this. They're doing what they can. They get a couple of light cannons. Good for them. They're strong, but they're not that strong. All right. Still got 7 light cannons here, and culverin is out. Now let's take a look at the damage that they can do. Ouch. 1 light cannon down. Oof, 2 more light cannons take nearly fatal damage. And they go down. Bringing me down to only 4 field cannons. Which is, I just got the upgrade for the light cannons, so they're now field cannons. That's the bad news. The good news is, the musket riders are here. I put them into melee mode because they'll do more damage in melee against artillery. Culverin goes down. Champion. Bowman are out. One of the things I will say, by the way, I need to get even better at the Haudenosaunee and the Native American civs in general. You will notice, if I go back to my base for a second here, how I have not built the community plaza at all. And I don't know what that's probably a weakness on my part and an opportunity to grow as a Haudenosaunee player. Because I'm not taking advantage of all of the tools the civilization offers. But I'm just keeping the momentum going with the civilization. And that is a really, really strong choice. So again, the town center falls one more time here. And at this point, I don't know that anything more exciting happens. I have 69 villagers. He's down to 18. I'm an age up on him. This game is over. So I'm sure you want to see it come to a conclusion. So we'll fast forward a little bit here. I know that he's got vills over this way. I saw them leave, so send the bowman up. Start knocking them out. But that right there is the power of this Haudenosaunee rush. It allows you to get control of the tempo of the game very, very quickly. And if your opponent is not ready to respond to it, then you can just destroy. You get control of the tempo, you don't let go, and you win. I'm starting the Monopoly upgrade. I like to fall back on the trade Monopoly when I have control of the map. And I'm in the 4th age. That's an option. There we go. Game. Haudenosaunee, man. A strong civilization. What a way of just gaining tempo and not letting go. So, again, my advice to my Noob Cup competitors is recognize that early strategies are a thing. If you can practice doing them, that's great. It'll definitely be scary for your noob opponents. But also be aware that they might be coming at you and have options in your deck. I mean, here with my Spanish opponent, he had the Rodolero, which was the only card he had, but it ended up being the perfect card, so he was lucky. Have in your decks military options to withstand early aggression. Have in the back of your mind an awareness of these vulnerabilities, and that may help you in your games. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Once again, I want to give a hat tip to the ESOC, soccer community, and the author of this particular build, who I will credit in the description. And one more time, I've got the AoE3 Noob Cup 2 sign-ups are wrapping up next week, and the games will begin in March. Now, I don't know when the casts will show up on the channel. It may take a little bit for me to actually record the games and put them onto YouTube, but the tournament itself will begin in March. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless. For now, this is the Iron Kaiser, signing off.